Hi there, and today we're going to learn about how to edit a table in Wix Studio. So here I am in my Wix Studio website and I already have a table right here. But this table, I'm only using the template that you can see in Add Elements, Layout Tools, and I'm using this table right here. So I just changed some color and I added the column. But maybe you're wondering how to edit the table, specifically how to edit the data inside the table. So for that, you need to connect your table into a CMS or a collection. So you can just click this button right here, connect to CMS. Then from here, it will open up this inspector tool right here. And then if you have your own table, you can use that for your connection. I mean dataset. If you have your own dataset, you can connect that into your table. So for example, I already have this one. I imported a dataset and it's named as import one dataset, and then it has all of these different columns. So that's why it looks like this. So I can just stretch this out, and then I can just remove some other columns that I don't need. So for example, I don't need this. I just press the X button, as well as for the other columns. Or what we can do as well, we can just click on manage table and then delete the other columns that we don't need. So for example, this one, delete. So you can just delete them one by one. But another way into editing a table is that you can create your own collection from scratch. So let's say I disconnect this dataset. I'll just use the default again, and then from here, I will create a new collection. So we can just click on this, we can click on add a dataset, and then you can click on this again, and then let's click on create collection. So from here, we can choose if you want to create a collection using AI, or if you want to import a CSV file, or if you want to start from scratch. So let's say I want to start from scratch. So just select this one and then click next. Then from here, you'll just name your collection. So for example, I'll just name it test collection for now. And then you can choose if you want the collection to be a multiple item collection or a single item. So I'll just choose a multiple item collection, click on create. And then we now have this default headers right here, or the default columns. If you want to add a column, you can just click on add field. So for example, text, and then click on choose field type, and then field name, for example, will be remarks, and then click on save, and then it will automatically be added into your collection. Then from here, you can just add some items. For example, I'll add 3 items. Then I'll just name it data 1, 2, 3. And if you want to open it, you can just click on this open button right here, and it will enlarge that specific data if you want to edit it in more detail. Then just click on save. But if you're okay with this, you can just edit it using this editable grid right here. And then you can insert some description right here. For example, I'll just insert description 1, then copy that for the other data. And for example, you'll insert an image. So let's say I'll just use some free images from Wix. But if you want to upload your own image, that is fine as well. Well, let's say I want to use these photos right here. And then there we have our test collection. We can now just close this and then choose that collection right here and then click on create. And then we now have the data set from that collection. And then in order to add our data into our table, we can just click on add columns right here in connections and then add the specific column that we want to add into our table. And then you can click on add column again to add another column and then click on it again to add our image column. And then there we have it. We have now edited our table to insert our own data inside of it. If you want to edit it some more, for example, you can stretch this and then you can change the look of your table using the inspector tool. Go to right here in design, and then for example the header background, we can change it to a different color, maybe to this one, like a mustard yellow. And then the first and last column, you can change its color, for example like that. And for the row background, you can also change the color like that. And for the alternate row, background on hover, selected row on cell, and so on and so forth. For the borders, you can also change its look. For example, if you add a border at the side, your table will now have a border around it. And then you can also change the corners, for example 20 pixels, and then it is now like a rounded table. Then you can also apply shadows and then edit the text. For example, you can change the look of the font style, and then we can also change the actual font style right here. And then we can also change the font size. We can make it into bold or into italic, so only the header will be changed. But if you are using this one is the header text, this one is the first and last column text. And for example, if you want to change this one, as you can see, this column change its font style, and then you can also change its font style right here. And then this one is the kind of like the font theme. And then moving on, you can change the color of the row text if you want. For example, it is currently in black. You can change it into a different color, but it doesn't reflect in this one since it is focusing on the row text. So if we change its fonts settings right here, it doesn't reflect anything from our table. And then that is basically it. That is how we edit a table in Wix Studio. I hope you learned how to do it, and thank you for watching.